I want to cover this latest announcement today. So on Twitter, we had a post I saw from Twitter here. I responded, let me in. I actually retweeted this one too. I retweeted this one and said how it's coming, and then the Diablo Twitter account responded with a vengeance. Pretty funny. I want to see this video here.
Hello everyone, I'm Rod Ferguson.
And I'm Joe Shelley.
Now as Diablo 4 marches towards its launch next year, we're excited to announce that we'll soon be entering a new testing phase. An endgame closed beta focused on everything that happens after you finish the epic campaign.
That's a really interesting
Closed
concept.
beta, we'll be directly inviting a large number of people using gameplay data to find players who have recently spent significant time in Diablo endgame experiences. These players will give us feedback on endgame features like PvP,
I
Nightmare
want that
Dungeons,
jacket
Whispers of the Dead,
and that
and
shirt.
our newest feature, Helltide. To be eligible to receive our invite,
Looking
make
fly
sure
right
you
there,
check
man.
out our latest blog for instructions. And don't worry, if you're not invited, public testing phases will come early next year.
Now participants in the endgame beta will be under NDA, so they won't be able to discuss it publicly. But this feedback is critical to ensuring Sanctuary is an exciting place to slay demons long after the campaign is over. And on behalf of the Diablo 4 team, I want to say thanks for your support. And we'll have even more news to share later this year, so stay tuned. And in the meantime, hail Lilith, Blessed Mother.
Hair fudge. So public testing early next year in case you don't get into the closed beta. How are they going to be able to get this game out by by the end of next year? It definitely feels like it's going to be crunch time for them. Developer update closed and end game beta draws near. It's so weird. They're doing an end game testing, which is kind of cool. I like that. I mean, that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in the end game. At the 2022 Xbox Game Showcase, we foretold Lilith, the Blessed Mother's return. Our closed endgame beta will be the first of a few opportunities for select players to experience some of what D4 has to offer. Players will be invited to test Diablo 4's robust endgame offerings using specific gameplay data. Additional details explain what types of players are being invited and how invites will be sent out are communicated later in this blog. This closed beta will be confidential, meaning players invited will be unable to publicly talk about or share their gameplay experience. So that's pretty unfortunate for me as a streamer and a content creator, and I want to make YouTube videos and I want to stream it and make all this content for it. It's going to be really hard for me. I mean, if I get invited, of course I will follow the NDA, but it's going to take a lot for me. It's just going to be like, man, I just want to share this with you guys. I want to tell you guys about it. I want to talk about it. Like, that's going to be so killer for me. It's like, oh my God, man. I mean, like, especially if it's good, and there's so much I want to talk about. But yeah, I mean, I guess, if it's confidential, it's got to be confidential. Closed endgame beta will be playable on PC, Xbox, PlayStation, and PlayStation. Wow, they're doing console even for the beta testing. This is something that usually they don't really do that often. Usually they just stick to like PC beta testing. Crossplay, cross progress for all platforms will be supported. Wow. So immediately off this testing here, even it's going to be cross platform right away. That's huge. Like, I know that we already kind of got we already got this info that it was going to be cross platform, but I'm surprised we're already going to be able to test that. For a quick look at what's to come during the D4 close. Okay, we watched this one already. We have decided to focus the closed beta on D4's endgame offerings for a few reasons. The full story of Lilith's return to Sanctuary is not something we would like to spoil prior to release. Players will experience a post-campaign Sanctuary during the closed endgame beta. So that definitely makes sense to me. Like, don't spoil the story ahead of time. That totally makes sense. Don't spoil the story. That's fine. And Endgame is what I'm most curious about. This is, after you finish the story, after you play through the story, it might take you a couple of days to finish this campaign. You might take a day or two or something, After that, it's like, what are you going to be doing for months and years to come? What are you going to be doing? You're going to be doing Endgame, right? So that's what's really going to sell the game for me. It's the reason why I have like 13k hours in D3 and I'm playing DI so much, and I play D2, and it's just PoE. You're able to play these games for so long because of the end game. Also, for many, the end game is their favorite aspect of a Diablo. Yes, true. We want to ensure it feels satisfying and with no shortage of challenging variety to experience across many demon slaying gaming sessions. So they get it. They completely understand that this is about slaying demons over and over and over again for a long time to come here. To achieve this, we're collecting community feedback early so that it may be integrated into D4 prior to launch. Players who are selected to participate in the closed endgame beta will have the ability to provide feedback between bouts of cutting down demons through an in-game feedback tool. Now here's a rundown of the endgame offerings included in the closed endgame beta. Ooh, so right away, man, we gotta have an expansive endgame, right? D3, granted this was a long time ago, D3's been out for a while, since 2012. It's been 10 years, right? Yeah, 10 years now. D3 has very limited endgame. There's very not much to do. Same with D2 and D3, very, very limited endgame. DI, they started to actually incorporate a lot more activities for the endgame. And I think that's like exactly what they're doing for D4 too. D4 is going to be going to be similar to DI in that it's going to have an expansive endgame, a lot of different things to do. So we have Helltide, Nightmare Dungeons, Whispers of the Dead, Fields of Hatred, and Paragon boards. Paragon boards. Okay, so that's not an activity. This is like a endgame progression system. Yeah, okay. The new Paragon system. We kind of got a little bit of a spoiler, a little teaser for the Paragon boards already. Kind of interesting, I suppose. A little bit kind of weird the way that you like turn the boards and tiles around. I'm not really sure like what the purpose of that is. In my opinion, a lot of times, like for example, a lot of times you have like a very complicated system where they give you these choices. And in this case, the choice here is how to rotate these Paragon boards. A lot of times when they do this, it's not really a choice. It's not really like, because there's like one right way to do things. And if there's only one right way to do things, there's one right way to do things, and then there's wrong ways to do it, right? And then everything else is wrong. So you're just making mistakes. So I call this the illusion of choice. The illusion of choice here, sometimes it's like, oh, you can do this, you can choose this, but in reality, it's a basically maybe like you can call it like a mental check or a stupid check. Some players might do the wrong thing here. They're just gonna make the wrong choices, or they're going to go onto a website or a YouTube video or a guide of some sort and just look up how to do it. Right, they're going to look up what's the most effective way to set these Paragon boards. And in that case, you might as well not even have the choice because people are going to look it up anyway. So it's like, it's the illusion of choice. Now, maybe I'm not giving the system credit yet. Maybe the system is really thought out really well, and the different choices you can make are all very viable. That's the most ideal situation, is that all these different choices are viable and there's many different ways to do it. And they're not necessarily wrong. So we'll have to see. It all comes down to how well they can balance it. Take stock of the skills and knowledge you cultivate from playing through these features. You need every tool at your disposal to defeat the closed endgame beta's boss. Okay, close the offerings here. Helltide. While roaming Sanctuary on foot or atop your trusty steed. Oh yeah, everyone gets a mount for this. I read Trusty Steed and I was like, Crusader. I was like, no, every Crusader in DI gets a mount, gets the Celestial horse, but in Sanctuary, they're going more in D4. They're going more of an MMO route where it's like a very vast open world experience, and you need a mount to traverse the areas. You might find yourself caught in a hell tide. This is a new region-wide event that becomes available to heroes only once they have reached World Tier 3, Nightmare Difficulty. Okay, so right away, they're bringing back different difficulty modes. You have to reach World Tier 3, Nightmare Difficulty. In a Hell Tide, the servants of Lilith are empowered, having their difficulty increase, but dropping loot worthy of the danger. Her mightiest minions are also out in greater force, and the very ground of Sanctuary as you know it has been morphed by the surge in demonic activity. As you call the monstrosities inhabiting a Helltide, they potentially drop cinders, a new currency that can be spent to open Helltide chests scattered throughout the respective region. These chests boost bountiful boons exclusive to a singular item slot, such as torso, legs, or two-handed weapon. But be wary in hoarding your cinders. Should you fall in battle, they'll drop and must be reclaimed. What? They drop and must be reclaimed. Your cinders. You can lose them? Is this also going to tie into the PvP where someone can kill you in the open world PvP and take your cinders? Is this... Wait. No, I think that I do remember them talking about the world PvP. The world PvP has like... They said there was going to be certain regions where PvP is enabled. PvP zones, right? And you can go farm stuff in those zones. Is this what they're talking about? The PvP zone? You just have to go back to your spot and pick it up. Okay, maybe it's just that. Maybe it's just like your corpse is on the ground, you just go back and pick it up kind of thing. Okay, maybe it's that. But it sounds like this activity has its own exclusive reward that you can put on your gear. So that's huge. That's what we like to see. I like to see when you have all these different activities, and these different activities you have to do them because you're incentivized to do them because they provide you with different things. So you have to go out, you have to go and do it, right? It gives incentive to do it. It gives people like different activities to go and do, so you're not doing the same thing over and over again. Yeah, sounds pretty cool. Nightmare Dungeons, we've created a difficulty of Diablo dungeons straight out of your nightmares. No, really. Nightmare difficulty dungeons in D4 unlock upon locating your first nightmare sigil. Each sigil corresponds to a specific dungeon somewhere within Sanctuary. Is this going to be like mythic keys in WoW? These sigils will add special modifiers to their dungeon, increasing the ferocity of the hell servants waiting for you inside and providing higher rarity loot. So, higher difficulty means higher rewards, makes sense. Through completing Nightmare Dungeons, you will recover even more powerful sigils, introducing increasingly death-defying modifications and challenges for you to overcome. As you progress into higher and more challenging world tiers, new Nightmare Dungeons will become available for you to explore. So that sounds really, really cool. I mean, so the thing that sticks out to me here is that they said the increasing difficulty is based off of modifications. Add special modifiers to their dungeons. Sounds like PoE maps. Yeah, it does. So, and I really like this. The reason I like this is because in D3, we all know in us D3 players know how they increase the difficulty, right? How do they increase the difficulty in D3? Especially when it comes to like the one endgame activity, essentially, Greater Rifts. How they increase it is you go from Greater Rift 1 to 150, and each increasing level just makes the mobs have more HP and hit harder. That's all it does. It's just more HP and they hit harder. And this is really restrictive when you play D3 because it essentially means you have to play your builds in very specific ways in order to overcome like the extra damage and many enemies are going to be dealing to you, and to be doing enough damage to kill everything fast enough for the 15-minute timer. So it excludes a lot of builds because of that. It just, you have to focus on builds that have enough toughness to survive and can deal enough damage, right? And it's very just linear. It's very stale. It gets very stale after a while. It's just plus this much HP and damage every time, over and over and over again, from 1 to 150. It just gets boring after a while. It does get boring. So special modifiers seems like it's going to be much more interesting. You can mix it up. There could be different modifiers that are good for different builds. There, you could come up with builds specifically to overcome the modifier that you're being given. So it just makes for a much more like reactive kind of gaming where you kind of decide what to go with depending on the modifier that you're getting in the dungeon, right? So that sounds really great. I'm looking forward to this kind of dungeon. Whispers of the Dead. The Tree of Whispers has a few loose ends to tie and needs your help settling the score. Displayed on your map, players will see various whispers scattered throughout Sanctuary. Complete the associated task and be met with experience, gold, and grim favors. The number of grim favors you receive from completing a whisper varies, but once you collected 10 grim favors from the dearly departed, they can be exchanged at the Tree of Whispers for a bevy of loot and experience to reward your heroics. Okay, so this is like a questing thing. This is just like objective questing, right? The types of whispers a player sees on the map rotate frequently, with new ones becoming available throughout the day for you to track. Each whisper will offer both a different set of rewards and experience for completing it. Traditionally, the Whispers of the Dead system does not become available to players until after completing a specific chapter of the main questline. For the closed beta, players will be able to engage with this system right out of the gate. So this sounds like busy work to me. So I like things like Nightmare Dungeons here. It sounds very challenging, right? It sounds like it's gonna be really difficult to do. This sounds like your basic MMO questing, kind of where like you go to an NPC, you talk to an NPC with the exclamation on their head, and you do the quest that they give you. You run around, you run to a location, you finish it. Maybe kind of like bounties also in D3 or DI. Like that. This to me just sounds like busy work. I welcome more activities, of course, but this one is not for me. It doesn't sound that as fun. So I'll do it. It's a way to get people running around doing different things, and it's fine. It's just not my favorite activity, I think. Fields of Hatred. Born from their contempt of mortals, Mephisto has cursed specific areas of Sanctuary, transforming them into deadly fields of hatred. These designated PvP zones, here we go, this is what I want, are the proving grounds for players looking to bring re-own to their name through blood and zeal. Dude, this beta is gonna be so good with PvP. Oh my god. Oh god, man, I'm gonna be so hyped to play PvP. It's so hard to be under NDA for this though, to play this. Holy crap. While inside the Fields of Hatred, players can dispatch demons to collect seeds of hatred. To make use of these seeds, you need to bring them to the altar of extraction where they can be smashed into red dust. Be quick to convert your seeds of hatred to red dust. They are the desire of other players lurking in the zone, and if they are skilled enough to overtake you in combat, your seeds of hatred will be dropped. Okay, so this is what I was kind of talking about before with the PvP zone, where you do objectives in this PvP zone and you can actually be killed, and people can take your loot, what you've gathered. Going through the trouble of transforming seeds of hatred into red dust does have its merits. Red dust will not be lost if you're felled. It can be spent at the PvP cosmetic and mount vendors for ornamental rewards. Will you be able to forge a name for yourself in these tainted lands? Ornamental. So they're just cosmetics and mounts. Okay. So not any power gains? It doesn't sound like there's any power gains from this, which is kind of unfortunate, but to be honest with you, IPVP I PvP even if there aren't any rewards associated, right? Like, I've been sitting here doing Diablo Immortal PvP Battlegrounds, and I get free daily rewards for my first free Battlegrounds, but I can spend like 4 hours PvPing a day. So yeah, for me, it's not really about receiving a reward. It's more about the glory, the enjoyment of PvP. You just beating the competition and that kind of thing. So that's fine. And you'll get special PvP cosmetics here. So the PvP cosmetics and mounts are a way for you to actually show that you are good at PvP, which is awesome, which is great because, lately nowadays games have been offering skins as a purchase, a purchased item, right? Like a microtransaction. It's these transactions, the in-game shop offers it to you. So when you see someone in cool armor or with a cool, cosmetic or something, it usually just means that they spent money on it. But I do really like having cosmetics that show that you actually earn something. You actually are good at something. You're a competitor and you won it, right? So that's much better for me. I mean, I definitely will wear. I'm usually not one for cosmetics. I hardly ever buy cosmetics. But if it's something that you earn through PvP or through like hard difficulty or beating other people, like yeah, I'm totally down for that. So I probably end up spending a lot of my time in Fields of Hatred PvPing. Paragon boards. Upon reaching level 50, the Paragon boards and endgame character. Wait, is 50 the max? Not 60? It's 50? Or well, I guess maybe 50 might not be the max level. Maybe you start getting Paragon before max level. I don't know. An endgame character growth system designed to empower your hero unlocks. As your hero earns experience, they will receive Paragon points. These, yeah, I don't know if this is like, is it just max level or not? I don't know. These points can be spent to unlock new tiles, sockets, and even additional Paragon boards to further customize your hero and ascend to new heights of power. So we did talk about the Paragon board system, and I did look over that briefly. Who will be invited? Ensuring that D4's endgame provides the type of thrilling, ever-evolving experience we have set out to create is paramount for the team, and something we cannot determine on our own. We need experts, perhaps even players such as yourself. Specifically, we'll be using gameplay data to invite a limited number of Diablo players who have recently spent significant amounts of time playing the endgame experiences of D2R and D3. How recent is this? Because I played the first day of season 26 on D3. I played a bunch of the ladder on D2R when the first ladder came out. But recently I've been playing DI, blasting DI nonstop since it released beginning of June. But DI is not included in this gameplay data they're looking at. I've been playing the wrong game. Damn it. If you believe you fit the requirements to be one of the selected players, you can help ensure our invitation to the closed endgame beta reaches you by following the steps below. Okay, so you guys can go to your launcher or the website, click the username, account settings, view account, privacy communications, communication preferences, and then click update. Make sure news and special offers from Battle.net option is enabled. This one here, news and special offers from Battle.net. Enable that, guys. Following the above steps will allow us to send an invite to your provided email if selected. Okay. So guys, if you want to jump in there, if you have played a significant amount of time in D2R or D3 recently, it just says recently, kind of vague, recently spent significant amounts of time playing endgame experiences of D2 and D3, if you guys have done that, go and sign up, you might get lucky. Pretty cool, pretty cool. So like I said, I'm looking forward to how challenging are these nightmare dungeons. I want it to be hard. I want it to be really hard. I want it to be very difficult. I want this to scale up and have some pretty insane challenges. And I'm not talking about just plus damage and plus HP like in D3. I'm talking about like these special modifiers better be good. Yeah. There better be some unique things here to add difficulty to these dungeons. It better be hard. And then I'm looking forward to PvP, of course. Looking forward to seeing how the PvP goes here. I am a PvP enjoyer, enthusiast. If they have elemental reflect, I hope they're not just copying the modifiers from PoE maps. Yeah. Wow, it's 5-man leveling content with a multiplier. Some people like it. Most just use Mythic Plus to gear for better content. DI is starting to not to play melee class in a PvP setting. I mean, it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone. I would say though, I mean, even in like DI, there is a place for melee, and especially in team compositions, you need them. You need them. Like someone has to do it. It might not be for you, and it's completely understandable if melee is not your play style, but for team fighting especially, you need melee and you need initiators on your team. And you know, DI is battlegrounds are objective based, and many times the problem is that a lot of people don't like to play melee, right? And right now in DI you see everyone playing wizard, necro, and DH. They're all playing ranged. A lot of times you actually run into a team that has like very few, maybe like 1 or 2 melee, sometimes none at all. No melee on your team at all, and you get completely screwed because everyone's trying to play range and they don't have a front line to tank for them. Wait. Yours says Diablo Immortal? Yours says Diablo Immortal? Hold up here. Okay, hold up here. I'm reading this again, making sure I got this right. It says D2 resurrected in D3. I'm gonna refresh the page. Great, awesome. This is good for me. They just threw that in there. They hotfixed the blog post to include Diablo Immortal. Awesome. Okay, so the past 4 months I've spent blasting Diablo Immortal hasn't gone to waste. Might actually get in the beta after all. Yes, thank you.
Watch, they're like, you know what, you haven't played enough Diablo Immortal. We're not gonna invite you.
Oh my god, I would like to know how many hours I put in DI so far. Let's see, it's been since June 1st, right? Which is that, what, 4 months? 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 months, right? So it's been like 4 months and 19 days. How many? Let's just estimate here. So 30 times 4 plus 19 is like 139 days or something. So 139 days. What is the average? My average playtime per day. So recently it's gone down without a doubt. When it first released, it was really high, like 15 or 16 hours per day, right? I was just blasting it like crazy. But then eventually it kind of went down to like 8 hours. Recently, it's kind of dropped pretty significantly, I would say. Hey. You're at 6 or 10 average, probably, Snooty. What are those paws, Fudge? I would say I'm around 7. I'm going to do 139 times 7 here. 973. Okay. So I think I am coming across that like 1K mark with the hours spent. Hi, Fudge. And I have like 13K hours in D3, right? But the problem is they said recently. So I don't know if like recently maybe they're just talking about the latest season. The latest season, season 27, 26. The latest season, I only spent 1 day playing, and then I stopped. But like previous seasons, I put a lot of time in. I put over the course of 10 years, I put 13K hours into it. So.
Can you talk to him for like a minute?
Hi, Fudge.
What are you doing throwing paws?
Why? Why are you throwing paws, Fudge?
I said that he was fat. Now he sticks out his tongue more.
Fudge is telling Blizzard to give me an invite to the D4 beta.
Hi.
All right. Well, great news for sure. Did they say when this is going to start happening?
I think so.
They didn't give us a specific time when this is actually happening, did they? They said November. They gave a date. Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry, it's down here. If you have not received an email invite to D4 closed beta by November 18th, then you are not selected. But don't fret. Okay, yeah. So this is just, they just say when the invites stop going out. So that's the invites will stop going out after November 18th, but that doesn't really tell us when the testing will start. But okay, well, I'll be on the lookout for it. I'm going to do that opt-in right now. I'm not going to show my data. I'm not going to show my screen here. Blizzard, if you're watching, Lex is really helpful and you test out a lot of builds. It's true. It's true. I mean, if you guys have known me for a while, you know the kind of testing I do, especially in D3, I did a lot of testing, right? That kind of testing I do, and DI, the kind of testing I like to do is that I like to do like mechanical testing and how things actually work and are calculated or are applied in game. That's the kind of testing I like to do, right? Like, let's see, like the most recent thing we tested in DI was the Ray of Frost stuff. We were testing the Ray of Frost stuff. How does it work? You know, just mechanically how everything works. How does it tick? How often does it tick? Are the ticks on channeling skills affected by attack speed? We tested like the overlapping. We actually found out about that bug on the Phantom Ray like the day, I think it was the day of or the day after they released the legendary item for it. So as soon as they like put it into the game, we got onto the someone was saying that they had thought that the Phantom Ray was doing more damage than intended, and they were like, what's going on here? And so we went into that in-depth testing on it. So anything that like requires like precise timing or mechanical knowledge, or if there was any way to like break the game or make something super OP through certain mechanics, that's something that I'm always looking for. So that's the kind of stuff that I like to test. Hi, Fudge. Hi. And then in D3, I did a lot of testing, of course, on Bazooka. I perfected Bazooka mechanically, which a lot of people thought was impossible to do manually, but I was playing manual Bazooka without making any mistakes. After they were nerfing Bazooka, I would continue to test it and break it and see if we could still do it. I did a lot of testing on just the PTR, a lot of D3 PTRs. I did quite a bit of testing on stuff. The other thing I found out in D3 was how to abuse Frozen Orb of Death Wish channeling. That was another one, like another like mechanically difficult build to kind of pull off, but like if you got the timing right, you could kind of abuse it. Back in the days where I had to stream my keyboard, yeah, people didn't believe that I was playing manual Bazooka, and I had to actually provide proof with a hand cam, a keyboard cam. Hi, Fudge. Because of course everyone else was using macros. Hey, hey. What are you crying about? What are those paws? No pause, no pause. I'm an author for D3 guides. Yeah, well, at first it was like I was trying to teach people how to play bazooka manually, right? So at first it was like, you know, Diablo fans posting on Diablo fans. Eventually I made YouTube videos, and my YouTube videos teaching people how to play bazooka was like breaking down essentially frame by frame, just showing people freezing, or like pausing the frames and showing people exactly what to do in order, because bazooka was a very input heavy play style. You had to do a lot of things in succession and in the right timing. So I broke it down I would break it down. And that's how I started my YouTube, actually. It was the first thing I did on YouTube was try to teach people. It was because I wanted to teach people how to play bazooka manually. Hey! And then eventually I went on to make guides on max roll for Diablo Immortal. So I did a lot of testing. Because we wanted to make the content on max row and make the guides there. So I spent all 3 testing phases that we had access to. We spent, you know, testing the game and just to get knowledge of the game and write those guides on max row. So I've done quite a bit of game testing for Blizzard games. Hey. Excuse me. I'm trying to talk here, Fudge. Hey. Does Fudge get a treat? Does Fudge get a treat? Yeah, you want a treat? Just clean your face, Fudge. All right, let's give you a treat. What do you want? Let's see here. You want your chicken? You want your chicken? He is slurping today. Let's cut the music so you guys can hear the kitty ASMR. I did put a noise suppression on the stream. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not. I can't, oh yeah. I don't know if I can get the mic close enough. All right, you happy now, Fudge? It's actually purring too. How's that, buddy? You happy now?